All right, we are back, aren't we? And we're here, and we're going to teach, learn something. If Kenneth had been sick, and Mary had stayed sick, and Jim had to stay home, and a couple of people had, and then gas money had been me and Mary Ann. She ain't got any excuse. She lives around the corner. Unless she's working. I forgot about that, yeah. All right. We begin our service, as always, by sharing with you the people that write to us from around the world. We're on the internet. Some of you are watching us every Sunday morning at 11, Sunday night, Wednesday night at 7. And we're also on the internet 24 hours a day all over the world. And we get letters from people. We're on TV across the country, from Los Angeles and San Diego all the way to New York, and a whole lot of big cities in between. And down in Texas, all over Texas, we're on TV up Washington State and in Washington, D.C. as well, and the Midwest, all these towns. And these are people that write. Vicki Simmons writes to us. She writes and says, I accidentally caught your telecast one evening and could not believe my ears. All I can say is you must be a Church of Christ. Well, I'm in the church and I believe in Christ. And your attack on charismatics is ridiculous. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry, you're stupid. Ba'ar, Allah goes. You come across as arrogant and judgmental. Well, I'm supposed to judge righteous judgment. I'm trying to read it like she meant it. You talk about gossipers, and you sit there and talk about the way charismatics talk about they get off the platform. That, my friend, is gossip. She's very funny, isn't she? 2 Timothy 3:5. Read it, because that scripture is talking about people like you. To quote something you said, that stupid Charles Capps. Well, he is stupid. He says, Charles Capps is over in Arkansas, and he says, if you say, he's a word of faith, and says, if you say something with your mouth, it'll form your own creation. They're false teachers. And he'll say, if you say, if she does that, I could just die. He says, don't you say that, and don't you keep saying that, because you'll die. Eventually, you'll die, and it'll cause something to happen in your life, and you'll die. You turn my stomach the way you talk about other believers. They're not believers, little girl. They're false. They're lying false teachers. You, my friend, need deliverance. She's a Pentecostal charismatic, because that's one of their phrases, deliverance. To me, I think people are funny when they write to me. They're just so ignorant. This is Vicki Simmons. She is so ignorant. Gosh. Now, then Richard Saylor writes to us, and he has a little bit something different to say. Jim, you are a great man of understanding. That doesn't sound like that woman a while ago, does it? You have shown through gematria that man could not have possibly made all these numbers come out as they did. You should listen to my friend's message here. You will get the rest of the story. Make sure you watch all videos. You be totally enlightened. Drop your ego. I don't know what that means. You know the one Billy Graham and the rest of the Pharisees have. I don't know what that means. You know the one Billy Graham and the rest of the Pharisees have. I don't know what that means. Huh? Just drop your ego. You know, the one Billy Graham, okay, and the rest of the Pharisees have. Oh, so I'm like the Pharisees, I've got an ego. No, it's not ego, it's truth, and it's a great passion for the truth. Boy, I'm making some enemies, ain't I? Garland, Texas, Rodney Miller. gosh, I just got to thinking. She just got through saying you're a man of great understanding. Well, if I've got understanding, maybe it's not ego. Maybe I understand more than you understand. Maybe it's...
Jim, they are listening to you.
Yeah, they are. This is from Rodney Miller in Garland, Texas. That's outside of Dallas. Hello, all. Hope all is well with you guys. I have several requests for DVD, and I hope I'm not making life difficult for you all. I would like to get all the information on the spirits in prison, the 70 weeks of Daniel, the spiritual Sabbath, and the 12 foundations. I know that that's a lot of information. Please let me know if I can send separate requests. As always, Agape and Flail, Rodney Miller. And then Celeste Craig writes from Rhode Island. Greetings. Thanks for the CDs. She means DVDs. I'm wondering if you have information about any group studying truth anywhere in the New England area. Got some up in New York, but that's a good ways from Rhode Island. Desperate for fellowship among the saints. And then Rodney McCarthy writes from Marysville, Washington. I just found out you have a series called the Revelation Series. Can I download it on the internet? If we had it all on there, you could. If not, could you send me a set? If payment is needed, I can arrange that too. Thank you, Rod. Well, it's about 270 some odd DVDs. You can have them 3 at a time, special order. All you have to do is we can send you the first 3, and then after you get through those, you call back and say, I'm ready for my next 3, and you keep up with the numbers of them. And then Ray Boyd, I talked to Ray. She's down in Austin. Please send me 2730, 2722, 2779, and 2726. I saw these on TV and are my favorites. I received 2423 and love it, but he could not say all he wanted to say, so I would love to have the subsequent DVDs on Prophecy, 70 Weeks of Daniel. That's about 18 months on the 70 weeks on Sunday morning. I would also like to send someone... I would also like you to send someone else, Joe Patrona in Arnold, PA. I'm going to rearrange my current tithe to Operation Blessing. What? I'm going to rearrange my current tithe to Operation Blessing so that I can send some to your ministry because that is where I am being fed. Operation Blessing, that's Pat Robertson's bunch. That's Charismatics. I'm currently looking for a job and want so badly to get one so that I can be a monthly for sure supporter. So I appreciate your prayers. Grace and peace to you all at Grace and Truth for the Fountain of Living Water. And then Kel McKelton writes, or Kel Turnbull in Tucson. Dear Pastor Brown, shalom, greetings to you all, to you and all your flock. I don't have access to a computer, but when I do, I love talking to you. I would like to know phone numbers to everyone who listens to you in Arizona. God bless you and have a wonderful day. Kel, can you please tell me what times you're on the airways in Tucson? And then Lawrence got, this is a Facebook question. Hello to my family here at Grace and Truth. I've been speaking truth on Facebook to my sister Dawn. This is Lawrence. And a few of her friends sound interested in learning the truth. One asked the question below, and I feel it would be of great help if you could give a brief explanation of the context, definition, and passage in question. Chris Eccles writes, what's your treatment on this passage in James? Let no man say when he's tempted, I'm tempted of God, for God cannot be tempted with evil. Neither tempted he any man. Every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. Then when lust hath conceived, it brings forth sin. Sin is finished, it brings forth death. Do not err, my brethren. Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above and cometh down from the Father of lights, in whom is no variance, neither shadow of turning. Of his own will begat he us, that we may be kind of first fruits of his creatures. Well, the word temptation is the word parosmos. It's the same word in 1 Peter 4 and 12. Think it not strange concerning the fiery trial, which is to try. God does not tempt us to do evil. He tempts us to do good. The word temptation means to put in the fire. Did he tempt Abraham? Yes. Does he cause us to be tempted? Does he put the fire in front of us and put us through the fire? Yes, he does. But I've had people say, well, I'm out here in my sin. God's predestined me to be in my sin. That's what he's saying. He doesn't do that. He's calling us to live righteously and godly. We're predestined to conform to the likeness of Jesus, not predestined to be out there in the depths of sin. I've answered all this in messages. And then John Newell writes, hello all, hope all is well. The media is really hyping this latest storm, Irene. Has most of the populace around here in a quiet panic. The Northeast is just not used to this sort of weather. Men's hearts failing for fear, looking after those things come on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. I used to think it would take a day or two to empty the shelves at the supermarkets, but from what I've seen today, I can assure you the shelves would be empty in a matter of hours, and that's true. If not minutes, if something really biblical was to happen. If people get this panicky over a Category 1 storm, what's going to happen when the real storm comes? These are the beginning of sorrows. We do have to cancel fellowship for Saturday night. God willing, we'll have fellowship on Tuesday night and share some survivor stories. Good night, Irene. Irene, good night. Okay. And then that's an old song by the, what was their name? I can't remember. And then David Roger writes from up in it says Houston, but he's not in Houston. He's up in Philadelphia, I believe. And this is something on religious freedom. Please see attached from USA Today, August 27, 2011. It says religious freedom under assault. That's interesting, isn't it? It's a big article in here in Christianity Today. I mean, USA Today. Then we got a YouTube comment here through Lawrence's placing it on YouTube. Do you know that when God created you, he imparted to you your own sovereignty? What? God left Adam and Eve to tend the garden and presented them paradise with everything that was wonderful. He was told to take dominion over what he had been given and to work it and to extend his family. With this wonderful provision, he has tested man by giving him a command that left him there to himself with a right to obey or disobey the commandment of God. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He couldn't keep from disobeying. He was in corrupt flesh. We all know what happened, and in the end, the question is this: do you ever lose the sovereign right to choose? Especially, you don't have any sovereign right. Everything is the will of God. When it comes to choosing to obey the gospel, the doctrine of irresistible grace would have us believe that God's grace cannot be resisted. Well, that's exactly right. And he goes on and on. I'm not going to read him. He's ignorant. Then I got another note off of this YouTube. Glad I found your page, Jim. Praise God Almighty. Arturo. And then I got another YouTube comment. Hello again. Thank you for relaying my messages to Jim. It was interesting to suddenly realize Jim was reading my short letter on the show. That's the show. Anyway, I have a small request for Jim. There's a verse which I would very much like for him to shed some light upon. Daniel 2:43. I wish to know more about the seed of men and why they could not cleave. I understand you are all very busy, and I wish to thank you all again for your kindness. May God continue to shed his divine favor upon you all. I know you all could use it. Sudiza. I don't have time to go into Daniel right now. And somebody says the fairness doctrine is finally history. And then, oh goodness, I got so many things here. I can't read them all. I ain't going to try to read them all. All right, I'll set these aside. This aside. It's over here. Why? I don't know. I didn't read it. I'm not going to get into reading that right now. Trying to discuss some government concept and read all these long papers. Main thing this is for, reading of these, is to encourage you that there's people out there that love me and hate me. And we have to be hated. I got a whole stack of letters I can't read, too many of them. And gosh, I got a whole slew of them. I'm not able to get to them all. I won't read them right now. I'll set them over here aside. I did get I will say this, I got from England, I got a letter from Peter Barber. Dear Jim Mary family, hi to all from England, with thanks for your continual walking in truth that has all the elect become more and more conformed to Christ's image and narrows our minds to become single. I'm still, well, that's hard to read. I'm still a job as they all scarce at 58 something. With a criminal record makes it something. This being said, this is hard to read. I can't read that. It's just so small. And close my tithe. It's hard to read. It's just too hard. That'll be enough reading for right now. Okay. All right. Let me remind you, don't forget we have many poor and needy that are struggling to live and stay alive, and they need our help. And we're talking about needy believers that barely get by on anywhere from $480 a month up to $1,100 a month, and that's all these people have, and they're trying to live, and they're having an extremely difficult time living, and they need our help. If you want to give food cards for these people, they're really struggling. And if you want to give food cards, you can pick them up at Walmart, or Visa or MasterCard are better. If you want to pick up a $25, $50 card, whatever you want to give, it's appreciated because they need us. We've got believers that can't get by hardly, and they're struggling just to pay their rent, their lights, and if something happens to their car and breaks down, they have no way to fix it. And some of them drive old cars that are threatening to break down at any time. So just be aware of that. And you can send your cards and we'll get them directly to them. And we also have a food pantry for people locally here that need food, need help. This is for believers here in the church. If you're between jobs having a hard time, or if you just don't make enough money, you're on SSI or you're on whatever, that's for you. And if do we need anything in the food pantry, Barb? That list back.
Need cereal. I see.
Need cereal. Okay. Need cereal. Do we need any canned meat like tuna fish?
It's hard to see back there.
Need tuna fish. I always need canned meat. So just.
Always use toiletry.
Yeah.
Mac and cheese.
I always use some things that, like she's talking about. So be sure and look into that. And don't forget our missionaries down in Ecuador. They preach these truths of predestination, election, the sovereignty of God. And they're preaching these doctrines to the natives down there, trying to start a school so they can teach the children to read Spanish so they can read their Bibles and in Spanish. So just remember that. And they need our help. We've been able to send them quite a bit in the last few months. And I don't guess we have any visitors, do we? Don't see any. All right. Well, let's go to the Lord in prayer. And I went home and slept 2.5 hours this afternoon. If I hadn't, I don't know how to make it. Sometimes I'm very tired. I stayed up till 3 this morning studying. Got up about 8:30, so. And I have a hard time getting by on that little amount of sleep. Now, some people, I know some of you say, 5 hours is all I need. Well, not when you're old and not when you're an asthmatic. You have to have, my doctors tell me to get 9 hours every night, and I don't ever get that. Never. 7 or 8 is tops with me. You just can't sleep. You get old, you can't sleep. You just wake up boing, say, boy, sure I'm tired. I wish I could sleep more, but you can't. It's strange, isn't it?